What if I told you St. Patrick's Day isn't really about leprechauns? It wasn't originally about drinking. And it definitely wasn't always green. Today, we're breaking down the real history of St. Patrick's Day, including the shocking origin of St. Patrick himself, ancient pagan rituals, snake legends, hidden symbolism, and how America transformed it into what we celebrate today. Let's start at the beginning. St. Patrick wasn't even Irish. He was born in Roman Britain in the late 4th century. His real name was likely Maewyn Succat, not Patrick. When he was about 16 years old, he was kidnapped by Irish raiders and taken to Ireland as a slave. For 6 years, he worked as a shepherd, alone, isolated, in the cold Irish countryside. During that time, he turned deeply to religion. Eventually, he escaped. He returned to Britain, but something strange happened. He claimed to have a vision, a calling, telling him to go back to Ireland, not for revenge, but to convert the Irish to Christianity. And that's when everything changed. Now, here's where legend mixes with reality. You've probably heard the story that St. Patrick drove all the snakes out of Ireland. There's just one problem. Ireland never had snakes. After the last ice age, snakes never migrated there because the island was separated from mainland Europe. So what does the snakes story really mean? Many historians believe the snakes were symbolic. They likely represented pagan beliefs, particularly the Druids, who were spiritual leaders in ancient Celtic religion. In other words, the snakes may have symbolized Patrick driving out paganism and replacing it with Christianity. That's a lot darker than a simple reptile story. Now let's talk about the shamrock. According to tradition, St. Patrick used a 3-leaf clover to explain the Holy Trinity: the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. 3 parts, 1 plant. But here's something most people don't know. The number 3 was already sacred in Celtic belief long before Christianity arrived. The Celts had triple deities, triple symbols, triple spirals. So when Patrick used the shamrock, he may have been connecting Christian ideas to existing Celtic symbolism, making conversion easier. Smart move. Now, here's another twist. St. Patrick's Day wasn't originally a party. It was a religious feast day held on March 17th, the traditional date of Patrick's death. For centuries in Ireland, it was quiet. Church services, family meals, reflection. And here's something that might shock you. Irish pubs were legally required to close on St. Patrick's Day until the 1970s. Yes, the day now associated with heavy drinking used to be dry. So how did it become the global party we know today? America. Irish immigrants in the United States, especially in cities like Boston, New York, and Chicago, began celebrating St. Patrick's Day in the 1700s and 1800s. It became a way for Irish Americans to show pride in their heritage at a time when they faced heavy discrimination. No Irish need apply signs were common, so parades, celebrations, and public displays of Irish culture became acts of identity and resistance. Over time, the holiday evolved. Green became the dominant color. Parades got bigger. And yes, the beer started flowing. Fun fact, Chicago dyes its river green every year for St. Patrick's Day. That tradition started in 1962. Now, let's talk about leprechauns, the modern leprechaun. Small, red-bearded, dressed in green, is largely a marketing invention. In original Irish folklore, leprechauns were trickster fairies. They weren't cute. They were mischievous, sometimes dangerous, and known for guarding hidden treasure. If you caught one, he was supposed to grant you 3 wishes, but look away for even a second, and he'd vanish. Classic folklore warning: don't trust magical beings. Here's another myth most people believe. St. Patrick's Day was originally associated with the color blue, not green. In early depictions, St. Patrick wore blue robes. Green became dominant later, largely because of Irish nationalism and the nickname the Emerald Isle. The 1798 Irish Rebellion used green as a symbol of independence, so wearing green became political. History always runs deeper than we think. Now, let's talk about something darker. Some historians debate whether St. Patrick's mission was peaceful or cultural erasure. When Christianity spread through Ireland, many ancient traditions faded. Sacred sites were repurposed, pagan rituals were replaced, Celtic gods disappeared from mainstream belief. Was it spiritual salvation or the loss of an ancient culture? That depends on who you ask. And here's something else. St. Patrick was never officially canonized by a pope. He became a saint by popular acclaim, recognized by tradition rather than formal canonization. That surprises a lot of people. Today, over 150 million people worldwide celebrate St. Patrick's Day, from Dublin to New York to Sydney. It's one of the most recognized cultural holidays on Earth. But beneath the green hats and shamrocks, there's a story of slavery, conversion, cultural transformation, immigration struggles, identity, and mythology layered over history. So next time you see a leprechaun decoration, or drink something dyed green, remember, this holiday has roots that go back over 1,500 years. And like most traditions, it's more complex than it looks. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the real origins of St. Patrick's Day, make sure to subscribe for more hidden history and surprising facts. Comment below. What surprised you the most? The snakes, the blue color, or the fact that pubs used to be closed? And I'll see you in the next one.